let's talk about hearing, location, and organization while you're hearing music and hearing me talk and all of that stuff. I'm sure you're gonna struggle locating me, right? No, where is he? Where is he? Please, somebody help us. Okay. Earbook. Also, earbook. Hello. First message didn't go through? Yeah. Classy save, sir. Classy save. The music video that I was gonna play for you, I gotta turn this down a little bit for me. I'm gonna turn it down to 4%. That should work. Alright. Listen to What the Man Said by the Wings, Paul McCartney and the Wings. So you can go listen to it when you, if you ever want to. It's great. It's a great song. It's a great tune. Listen to what the man said. That's my rendition of it, of course. But we're not gonna listen to it because YouTube would be mad at me. Okay. Okay. So we're gonna talk about how your ears work with finding sounds, and then the second part of it is where sounds end up in the brain. So organization and the neuroscience of it all. Okay. So there's going to be some parallels today with the vision stuff. So there's parallels with hearing and vision. We have 2 ears. We have 2 eyes, and so there's a lot of parallels with what we're gonna talk about. So and a lot of the same principles do apply, because sounds, if you're hearing them directly, travel in a straight line, just like light does, right? If you then add reflections in there, then of course light and reflections do. Light reflections and sound reflections do then change where you would get the location information. Okay. So I mentioned, and then whatever we don't finish today, we'll finish on Monday, which includes, I think most of you said that in one way or another that you wanted to hear, you wanted to talk about deafness. So, yeah, we'll do that. I'm sure we'll have enough time, because there's not. I cut quite a bit because I didn't know how I was going to handle doing both days, or not. Which I normally do, but then I cut some other. Anyways, yeah. So this stuff, I'm pointing to my screen. And I should have decided to have put myself over here. Like, I should have put myself over here. I don't know why I decided to put myself where I am right now, but I can't change now. I've gone 2 weeks now in the same spot. Can't now. So, if you're hearing and seeing 2 animals. Here we have it's what looks to be a cardinal. And down here, which looks to be a cat, right? Although it says bird. So, it looks like a cardinal. I'll call it a cardinal. If you're staring at the tree, okay, then the bird or cardinal will be high, and so it'll come down low on the retina, and the cat will come up and sit at top of the visual field. So then you just reverse those images, and you're like, oh yeah, the tweet from the bird and the meow meow from the cat goes to my ears. Okay. The other thing that we're going to talk about is how then this relates to vision. So we're going to combine them toward the end. Okay. So localization has to do with... Definitely going to turn down this music. Sorry if you can't hear it. It's bothering me. Alright. So when we talk about location, talk about auditory space, okay? So the auditory space is everywhere around you, just like your visual field is, 210 degrees in front of you, right? Wherever your eyes are, it's about 210 degrees. Your auditory space is actually 360 degrees around you. That's your auditory space. You can hear everything around you, which is pretty friggin' cool, if you ask me. By the way, did anybody do the echolocation? If I don't see anybody do it in chat, I'm gonna be super, super sad. But you still have time to be a social media superstar on TikTok. Echolocation. I promise. You'll rise to stardom. It'll be viral like the coronavirus. Anyways, 360 degree space around you for sound. And it extends as far as you can hear. As far as you can hear. And you can actually hear pretty far. As long as sounds are loud enough. And they don't get impeded by things. Because imagine a very loud jet engine that you can hear that's flying over you at cruising altitude. Cruising altitude's 35,000 feet. I need to see that, cat. Link me. 35,000 feet, and yet you can still hear it. So auditory space is gigantic. Just keep that in mind. Okay. In fact, Kat, link it in chat so everyone can watch it. And so when we talk about auditory space, we're talking about 3 dimensions because this is 360 degrees around us. And so we have 3 directions that we talk about. Okay. So, and so use this image when using the words, because the words sometimes, or the terms, I should say, don't really make sense sometimes. Like azimuth. What the hell is azimuth? If you're not a 3-dimensional designer, like, what the heck is azimuth? Azimuth is your horizontal position. Okay, so is the sound to the left or to the right of my face? Okay, so that's the horizontal position. Think of the azimuth as a similar concept, not the same though, a similar concept to the horopter, right, that we talked about a couple of weeks ago. Then you have elevation. This is up, down. I think this one is kind of straightforward and self-explanatory. So is the sound above me or below my head, right? So elevation, high, low, top, down, okay? And then distance is how far away is it from my face. So is it near or is it far? That's distance. So those are the 3 coordinate directions and within an auditory space. So where can we hear something? So how does this work? Well, just basically though, before we talk about how it works, because I think how it works is pretty cool. We're gonna revisit the pinna here in just a second. But for the most part, humans are good at very little. Of course, you knew that. But our hearing isn't the greatest. But so what we're good at is localizing things in front of us, and this has to do with what we'll talk about in a little bit when we connect vision with hearing. Right, we're gonna combine the 2 senses together to make a richer sensory experience. And so when we do that, obviously we're looking forward. Most of our visual fields in front of us. Of course, we're going to be able to detect sounds that are that are in front of us the best. Okay. And so to the sides, and I'll tell you why to the sides in just a minute, and then as well as behind us is very bad, and that is because of how our ears are shaped. Okay. And so, like I said, this is an evolutionary reason. Okay. Now, the interesting thing about hearing versus vision is that location cues do not appear in the receptor cells like they do in the in the retina in the photocells, right? We know where things are located because they fall in the retina in a certain place. We don't know things are located by hearing, by sound, based on where they fall on the hair cells. Remember, the hair cells inside the cochlea are only responding to frequency. That's it. That's all they do. They only respond to frequency. And so we don't get any location information from them. So we have to do extra work in the auditory cortexes. And so what we're going to do is I have a little fun thing. The good news is that you're not supposed to see it. I do have to stop the music for this, though. So I'm going to stop the music. There are some sounds that may predate your life. And so I would like you to do this with me. Por favor. Okay. And so I'm going to play you a sound. And I want you to, like, write down. I can see chat on my phone. So, Kat, I'm still waiting for a link. So I'm going to play you a sound. You write it down, type it, whatever, okay? And how many do I have? I have 3 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 30 sounds, okay? This is going to be a struggle for you because these are endangered sound effects. This is the Museum of Endangered Sounds. Okay, these sound effects used to live in ubiquity, and now they do not. So, okay, is everybody ready? I'm going to play the first sound. It's a softball one. It's an easy one. Don't guess it in chat. Just guess it on your own. Okay, I'm going to loop them 3 times, okay? I'm going to loop them 3 times. So that was the first one, okay? Did everybody hear that, by the way? You can let me know in chat if the loudness is good. Loudness good, yes, no, bad, so maybe no. All right, cool. All right. Number two. I'm going to loop it. Loop it 3 times. Let it loop 3 times before I turn it off. This one's slightly harder. Okay, so that was number 2. Number 3.
It's not my fault. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. It's not my fault.
I like that one. Okay. This one predates all of you. Like, literally all of you. At least who are in the class. If there's anybody else watching, maybe it doesn't.
Good afternoon. At the tune, Pacific Daylight Time will be 12:38 and 50 seconds. Good afternoon. At the tune, Pacific
I'm only
Daylight
going to do this
Time
one twice.
will be 12:38 and 50 seconds.
Okay. So that was that one. Okay. This one. One more time. Okay. That was number 5. Number 6. You're not gonna get this one. This one's so hard. Woo, that one was difficult. All right, number 7. That was the second one. 3. Okay. Number 8. Okay. That was just a solid stream of noise. I'm not going to replay that one. Here is number 9. I like this one. Okay, number 10. This is the second time. Alright, I'm just going to play that one. Alright. Number 11. Woo! Okay. So number 12. It's loud. Okay, turn that one off. Woo, boy! Yeah, you probably won't get that one. You might be familiar with this one, though. This is number 13. Okay. Number 14. You should be able to get this one. Okay. Maybe you had this one when you were a little bit younger? Okay. Play that one twice. Okay, number 16. Don't forget to call your mom if you're not at home. Okay, number 17. $18. That might be a red herring. Number 19. Okay. Number 20. Okay, number 21. Forgot how awful it was. Oh, man. So good. All right, you may have had a computer that had this on it before. One more time. Ah, so brings back so many memories. All right, that was number 22, 23. You might still have one of these at your house. If you do, it's probably so you could watch certain things. $24. You may have had this as a kid.
Spelling level A. Press go to begin. Press enter to check your answers.
play with me. Okay. Oh, this one represents an icon that most of you probably have never worked with before, but you use the icon every day. Game Boy. Oh, I just gave it away, or did I? Good old music. All right, number... I don't even know what number we're on now. Oh, yeah, I don't think you're gonna get that one. Oh, this one, though.
We're sorry. Your call cannot be completed as dialed from the phone you are using. Please read the instruction card or call your operator to help you.
Next one. No, I'm gonna skip that one. I don't know what number we're on now, so I'm gonna do one more. All right, you tell me what was the first one. What was this one? What was that one? Quick. AOL. Yep. Indeed. All right. Does anybody know this one? Did anybody use that one? I'd be impressed if anybody knows that one. Not Elmo, Jacob. Sorry. Not Elmo. No. Not. It was ICQ. It's another instant messaging platform. Okay. Next one.
It's not my fault. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. It's not.
So that third one was an old Mac. Okay, if you've seen WALL-E, then you know Autopilot. If you've seen WALL-E, then you Autopilot. Autopilot was voiced by the Mac dictation, text to speech. And at the time, Apple was doing a lot of stuff with text to speech, and so that's where
it's not my fault. It's not my fault.
When something bad happened in in the older Mac OSs, the CPU, well, you know, the computer would go, it's not my fault. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. This fourth one.
Good afternoon. At the tone.
So, if you didn't have a watch or a clock, you could call Time Lady.
Good afternoon. At the tone.
You could call Time Lady. Isn't that cool? Fifth one. What did you guys get for number 5? Batman about his parents. Samantha. Oh, these answers are amazing. What was number 5? What's this one? Yep. Old film starting up, yeah. Alright. So 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, number 8. I'm curious if you guys got number 8. An Atari game? That's close, Katie. That's close. Not Pac-Man. Not Galaga. Space Invaders. Hunter got it with Space Invaders. Yeah, Hunter got it with Space Invaders. All right. Which one did I? Oh yeah, this very subtle one. So that was 9. So number 10, this subtle one. The last part should give it away. What do we think? Cash register. Yep, Jesse, you got it. Okay. Oh, yes. This is another one that I wanted to do. So that was That was 12. So number 13. Yep. Yeah. Vinyl record player. Indeed, indeed. Okay. Number 14 should have been easy, right? Typewriter. Yeah. All right, and number 15 I said you may have had when you were a kid. And I think the end part of the sound gives it away too. Blowing into game carts. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly. All right, so that was 15, 16, 17. Yep, that's Pac-Man. Very good, everyone. Very good. Okay. So what number? Where are we? Shoot. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. So number 19. Your parents may have had one of these. Jurassic Park 3 ringtone? Yes! Yes, 30, yeah, Nokia. So for those of you who are, I love it, Caitlin and Anya, you guys are hilarious. Is that where you first heard it? Oh, man, specifically a Nokia phone. Yeah, a Nokia, yeah. Oh, man. This is fun. Number 21. Right? Yeah, dial-up. So it's specifically dial-up, although I see some of you guessing fax, which is essentially the same technology. So yeah, so 18, so that was 21. 22, I think will be, no, that will be the second to last one. It'll be the penultimate one. So... Windows 95. Oh, you guys are guessing Windows 98. It's actually Windows 95. They changed it slightly for Windows 98. It wasn't the exact same thing. No, it's Windows 95. Yeah. But good guesses on Windows, though. Good guesses on Windows. Okay, so this is the last one. The one before this one, though, I will tell you, was the floppy disk. So if you got, so that was 22, 23, 24, 25. So number 25 was the floppy disk. And so I said that you probably have never used a floppy disk in your life, but you press that button every single time you save something. So, floppy disks in my heart. Anyway, so this is the last one. So this is 20... so, yeah, wait, did I count wrong? So that was 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 20, oh yeah, 27, yeah, okay. So 26. Yeah, you guys got this one. Yeah. Rock on it. Like an 8-bit sound. Yes. All right. So you can go to savethesounds.info if you want. Maybe you cheated and you did it. But that's okay. Good times. All right. Back to what we were doing. I hope that was a nice respite for everyone. We can put the music back on. All right. Oops. Too far. Similar. So that's one of your cues, is knowing what sounds are. And if you know what sounds are, you know where they're coming from, right? So if you heard a phone ring, like the Ma Bell phone, like the really old Ma Bell phone ring, basically a hammer just hitting a bell inside the phone, you know, okay, that's a phone. I know where my phone is. I'm going to go get it. So you get location by knowing what sounds sound like, what the sounds are. So having experience with them really helps you with location. You know where to look on your either azimuth plane, your elevation plane, or your distance plane, right? Your phone's in the other room, you know where to go grab it, right? If you have an Apple Watch, it's really helpful. There's a ping feature. And so if you learn what the ping is, you can find your phone when you lose it, which is me every single time. I'm like, we have a black couch and my phone is black, as you may have seen. So I end up having to use the ping feature all the time. Good times. The other way that we get location is if we're out in the wild, wild west here, with binaural cues or binaural cues, okay? Similar idea to binocular cues, okay? Similar idea to binocular cues, okay? And this has to do with the time it takes for sound to be generated, reach your ears, and to be processed, okay? And so the difference between two sound points, A and B here, and being able to determine that A, they are coming from a similar location, but B, they have a different azimuth direction. A and B are on different points on your azimuth, right? B is to the right of A, right? And so what that does is that creates a situation where the sound from A comes to your ears at the same time because it's directly in front of your face, okay? And so the interaural time difference is essentially 0, okay? But when something is on the azimuth plane or the elevation plane, the sound is going to come to an ear first, one of your ears first, okay? So for B here in this diagram, the sound comes to your right ear before it gets to your left ear, okay? Comes to the right ear before it gets to the left ear. And so your brain starts to calculate this ITD. And even if the ITD is small, it's still going to tell you that it's to the right or the left of your head. Which I think is really freaking cool. Because our brain does this automatically for us. Because we don't get location information from the sound itself. This is literally the sound hitting one ear first, and then maybe a fraction of a second later hitting the other ear. And from just that bit of information, we know that the sound is off to the one direction. Okay? The other feature for binaural cues is the interaural level difference, the ILD. Okay? And that's the difference in the sound pressure that's hitting both ears. So and this one's the most egregious when a sound is immediately to your sides or the back. And that is because our ears aren't equipped to handle, even though our auditory space is 360 degrees around us, our ears aren't designed to handle things to immediate side and back of us, right? So what ends up happening is sound waves travel in a straight line. And potentially for your other ear to help you locate the sound, you're going to actually have to hear a sound reflection for it to get to your ear. Okay? So, and that changes the pressure. So that's the ILD. is a difference in pressure waves hitting your ear. So one ear gets 100% of the pressure, and the other ear gets, 40% of the pressure. Then you know that that if I'm getting all of the pressure of the sound wave to my left ear and only 40 to my right, then the sound is probably coming somewhere around my left. Okay? Around my left. The other problem with the way the ILD, the reason the ILD exists, I should say, is because for one reason is because our head casts what's called an acoustic shadow. So sound waves are absorbed by our head, and then nothing can pass through it. Okay, so it's like a light shadow, but it's for sound. Okay, it's for sound. The cool thing is that it doesn't actually happen for low pressure or low frequency sounds, because the spacing between the condensation and rarefaction is so much so that when we get reflections back to the other side, let's say if like this is 200 hertz, we get reflections back, we essentially feel the pressure as opposed to hearing the pressure, and so there's no acoustic shadow, which does tend to make it harder to hear if something is to the side or to the back, because it's not a binaural cue anymore, it's only a monaural cue. Okay, and if you only have one ear trying to determine location, you're gonna have a bad time. It's not like monocular cues for depth perception. Binaural cues are you're gonna have a bad time trying to find out locations if you just had one ear. Okay, which creates a cone of confusion. So those low frequency sounds create a cone of confusion. If you have the same ITD and ILD, there's too much ambiguity on where the sound is coming from. So you're not going to be able to locate it. Okay. We do have monaural cues, though. I'm not saying that we can't locate things without or with only one ear. I'm saying it's difficult. It's difficult because of our heads and the way our ears are the way our ears have evolved. They're essentially for forward-facing only, and so monaural cues are very insufficient for determining location because you constantly have to move your head. If you only had one working ear, you constantly have to move your head. Astra had a bacterial ear infection last week. I actually haven't asked her recently how her ear's doing, but essentially she had or has ear infection induced deafness. It's probably I'm sure it's temporary or if it's gone away, but so she had deafness in one ear, and she's like, if you're in another room, I can't hear you. I have to turn my head, especially where the sound energy is coming from. So monaural cues are wholly insufficient for actual good sound location. We still can do it, and that's because our pinna is where there. Our pinna is shaped as such to direct sound to us. Okay. So the example that your book gives you for monaural cues and the way that sound comes into your ear. Look at the beautiful. You wonder why are our ears shaped so funny, and why does the pinna have some weird cartilage shapes to it? And it's all just to direct that sound energy into the ear canal. That's it. That's all it does. That's why they look so funny. Okay? Yeah, people with bigger ears have easier times locating sound with only one ear. There you go. Lest you make fun of people with big ears. Lest you make fun of people with big ears. Your small ears is an insecurity, and it's really hurting. It's really hurting your ability to connect with other people. Don't make fun of people with big ears. Okay? The example here is an elevation example, as opposed to an azimuth example that I did with the binaural cues. And so you can see here that at low frequencies, there's very little difference needed to detect elevation change, whether it's 15 degrees above my head or 15 degrees below my head. But then at higher frequencies, they overlap. Okay? They overlap. So at higher frequencies, one ear, good at determining elevation. Like, is it above me or is it below me? Think birds for an example of this one. Think birds. Because, they're usually high and they usually sound high-pitched. They're usually above us, they sound high-pitched. But we can also hear them when they're down on the ground. Okay? And so you don't step on them and whatnot. Okay? ILD and ITD, and so here's where the comparison between binaural and monaural cues differ. So ILD and ITD work for azimuth and distance. They do not work for elevation. Okay? And that's because, generally speaking, if something is right in front of your face, but higher or lower than your face, right? So if we're up here or down here, it's reaching your ears at the same time. Okay? So those are 0. Not going to be able to determine elevation based on that. We need one ear for that, and that's how the sound waves are being directed into our ears by the pinna. Okay? As opposed to the fact that it's off to the side or behind us or whatever. So elevation, monaural cues, pinna, azimuth and distance, binaural cues, ILD, ITD. Okay. And an experiment by Hoffman specifically investigated this. Now, here's I wanted to point this out. The plural of pinna is pinnae. Okay? So both your ears' pinna is pinnae. Okay? Here's the cool thing they did with this Hoffman study is they specifically put molds on their ears to essentially flatten the cartilage. And I don't know if you've had stuff smashed across your ears before, but smashing that cartilage is super uncomfortable, right? So these people are saints for doing this experiment, but they were able to show that there's the mold, by the way. There's the mold that kind of look like those low-profile hearing aids, right? That you just kind of stick. They don't go up and over the ear, but they go like inside the ear. That's essentially what they were, but it was created so that it popped the pinna just a little bit. So if you have earbuds that are slightly too big for your ear, it kind of widens the ear canal, and it's uncomfortable. At least it's uncomfortable for me. I don't know about you, but it's uncomfortable for me. So it's essentially what they did with these molds, and they found that that people were fine at azimuth directions. Okay, so here is the pre-control, so nothing in their ear. Here is the first day with the mold in their ear. Day 5, mold in their ear. Day 19, mold in their ear. And then after they took the mold out of their ear for the post-control task. And so they found that azimuth really didn't matter. Azimuth was fine, but what wasn't fine was elevation. So so elevation would be this 30 degrees and minus 30 degrees, and then so that's the y-axis, and then the x-axis was it to the right or to the left by 30 degrees or minus 30 degrees. Okay, so 30 degrees to the right, 30 degrees to the left. Okay, so that's how you read each of these graphs, just in case it's not clear. So just their ears by themselves, they were pretty okay with matching where the sounds were on this grid, right? Yeah, that's not perfect, but it's also not terrible because it's in a grid shape just like the grid is, right? The first day, putting the mold in their ear, could not determine elevation. Fine with azimuth, though. They were able to place each of the sounds in front of their face, to the right, and to the left. So in front of their face, to the right, to the left. Day 5, oops. Went too far. Day 5, they were getting a little bit better. Here's then what happens when day 19 comes along. Look at that. That looks about the same, doesn't it? That's pretty cool. And then afterward, they were able to replicate the pre-control. Okay, here's the major point in all of this in this study, is that binaural cues, so ILD and ITD, and then pinna cues can adapt. There is an adaptation that we can get. We adapt to the situation that's happening in our ears, right? So even if our pinna doesn't match how we developed, we're still going to adapt to that new situation so we can then get that monaural cue working again. So separate neurons for the two cues. Binaural cues over here, these neurons in the auditory cortex handle the ITD and LTD. Or excuse me, ILD and ITD. Is that what he said? And then we have another group of neurons over here that handle the information of direction from the pinna, specifically about where it is on the elevation plane. Okay. Now, just like with everything in our brain, there are what and where auditory pathways. So here is where we slip into the organization side of all of this. Okay, the organization side. But I'm going to leave it there because it is 2:52. I didn't even realize that. So I'm going to leave it there. We'll pick up with the what and where pathways on Monday, and then we'll do those slides, and then we'll do deafness as I mentioned. So get a very good weekend under your belt. Go outside. Thanks for the video, Jesse. Go outside. Enjoy hanging out with people. Get some rest. Another week of this coming your way. Take a couple of days. Have a break. All right? You all have a very good weekend, and I will see you all on Monday. So, yeah. Enjoy yourselves. Bye.